Namaskar and welcome to the next edition of our strategic management video lecture series. In today's class, we will look at the next tool of business portfolio analysis, which is known as Hoffer's product and market evolution matrix. As you can see in this picture, it is again a 15 cell matrix which is prepared taking into consideration two factors. One is the stage of product or market evolution, stage of product evolution or stage of market evolution, and the competitive position of the company. What is market evolution stage, or what are the different stages of product or market evolution? Product life cycle is a pretty well known tool to understand what is the progress, how the progress of the product has been, and what are the various life cycle phases of this product. The most popular phases being the introduction, growth, maturity and decline. Some authors also have a pre-introduction, some authors also include a shakeout of the product. Similarly, for the market also, there are in this according to Hoffer's diagram, we have 5 very specific stages in which or through which a market progresses, the life cycle of a market or a market evolves. The first being development stage. At this stage, a product is about to be introduced or is introduced and is at its very early stages or incubation stages, and it is just beginning to increase its awareness. The product is beginning to increase its awareness. For the market, well, people are or entrants are testing the waters. They have not yet entered the waters fully, they have not yet penetrated the market completely. They are just conducting beta tests or test launches, and they are trying to test their products, the success of their products, how the consumers respond. Growth, well, that follows the development stage. Growth stage is particularly characterized by high growth rates, hence the name. High growth rates as in sales, acceptance of a certain product category, fast dissemination about awareness, fast communication about the success or failure of a product. So, normally it is success, and people or consumers have started accepting the product. That is the main feature of the growth phase. Shakeout is characterized by well, since the market has started to accept the product, people are more and more businesses, they want to take a share of this market, this new and attractive market. They have observed that a certain product has been or is being adopted or accepted by this particular geography or people. So, they also want a share of that market. That is when the threat of new entrants increases. The already present or incumbent players, they start to consolidate their strength. New entrants come and start to or begin to or attempt to disturb the market equilibrium. They want to take away a few customers of the incumbents, and that is how the competition intensifies. So, it is a kind of a shakeout or competitive situation. It is also called a shakeout because this is when some existing players begin to lose focus, begin to lose market share. Their consumers, they do not prefer to buy from them anymore. Their subscribers or customers, they start to think about other brands. That is when the other brands or new entrants have an opportunity. So, followed by maturity. A market is mature when there is sufficient awareness about all the existing competitive players. A market is also mature when it has become saturated. I mean, the demand for a certain product has stopped growing as fast as it was in the growth or in the development stage. So, demand sorts of peaks out in this stage, and Further, after maturity, it is expected that the demand for a certain product will decrease, ultimately leading into obsolescence. So, that is a brief description about the y axis of the Hoffer's product market evolution, and the x axis has competitive positions. Now, as we have discussed in the BCG matrix and the GE 9 cell portfolio matrix, we have seen what makes a business strong or weak. Its own market share, its research and development capabilities, its reach, its awareness, its goodwill, opinion about the brand among consumers, word of mouth, positive word of mouth or negative word of mouth. All these factors together, they determine the competitive position of a player. Here in this matrix, competitive position is determined or expressed in market share, in terms of market share. So, as you see here in this diagram, I have mentioned these letters of the alphabet A to F, and what do these letters signify basically? They represent various SBUs or product categories of a multi-product company. It is wise to remind here that portfolio analysis is best suited for companies with multiple product lines or group of companies, conglomerates. For single product companies also you can conduct this analysis, but there are simpler tools also. There are better ways to analyze simple one product companies and their performance. This is more suited because it adds more granularity and more resolution into the GE 9 cell matrix. It is an improvement over the GE 9 cell matrix also. As I remember, if you remember, GE 9 cell was a 9 cell matrix. It took a lot many factors into consideration, but this matrix gives us an idea of what stage the market is in, and in relation to that, how is the company's SBU performing. So, that is how this is an improvement. This may be considered as an improvement over the BCG and GE tools. So, A here is denoted at a cell which is in a remember here that A is a product, is a SBU, is an individual brand. So, the brand A, product A or the SBU A is operating in a market which is just developing, and in this developing market, this newly or this greenfield venture has an average position, average business position. So, its competitive position is average, it is not bad, it is not very good, and there could be reasons. Probably A has launched only recently, as we know that the market has just started developing. So, probably the A is a new entrant, the brand A is a new entrant. So, it might have a average position, it might not be the pioneer, it might not be the first in the market, but it definitely hasn't lost a lot of the first mover advantage. It still has been able to gather some market share. So, A, what do we call A here? If your SBU is in a developing market with an average market share or competitive position, it is a developing unit because the market is expected to develop furthermore into a growth stage and all other successive stages. But with a few exceptions, the market will progress in this direction only. So, that is how it can be expected to be a winner in the future, in the near future. So, the company will try to expand or invest more into this, into developing this brand, this SBU, so that it is able or it is ready to capture the market share when the market matures a little more, grows a little more. So, that is about A. We have in a growing market, we have taken two SBUs or two product lines or two brands B and C. Well, the difference between these two being, although both of them are in a growing market, one of them has a strong competitive position and the other has a weak competitive position. How does this differ, or how does this make a difference? Some brand being in a very comfortable position with a strong market share, with a high market share, and another brand with a not so nice market share. How does this make a difference? Because this position, this competitive position will dictate the strategy that the company adopts. It is a potential winner, which B is a potential winner, and potential winners obviously will need nourishment, will need care, whereas a winner which is having a currently weak position, but due to the growing environment it has a potential also, but here the expenses, the attention, the time devoted is going to be much more. So, C can be a winner by improving its competitive position or competitiveness. How do you improve the competitiveness of an SBU? If you know that the demand for that product, since this is a growing market, if you know that the demand for this product is there, which it is there because it is a growing market, if you know this fact, if you know this for a fact, then you will not hesitate in developing it, right. And this one, it already is at a comfortable position. So, it does not need as much attention as will C. So, that is the basic difference in the approaches to these two SBUs present in the same market. Well, is it possible for two different SBUs to be present in the same kind of market? Obviously, no problem in that, because these tools, they are market agnostic, they are applicable, perfectly usable, despite the fact that two different products are operating in two different markets or geographies. You simply have to gauge the level of growth or the stage of evolution of that market. For example, B could be a refrigerator brand and it is operating in a market or a geography which did not have does not have a long history of refrigerators. So, probably the people there are beginning to accept this product and they are adopting this product at a fast rate. So, that is how it is a growing market. So, and in that market your brand is doing pretty well, it has a majority market share, it has a strong competitive position, whereas on the other hand C could be probably a cooling solutions provider or a motorcycle company which does not have a lot of demand in that, I mean the demand is there, but the market share does not do justice to its potential. It does not have a lot of market share in a growing market. The demand for motorcycles, automobiles is there in that market, it is a growing market, but your brand, maybe it entered late, maybe you ignored it when it was in the developing stage. For some reason, it could not gather a lot of market share. So, that is what led to its weak competitive position, and that is how it has rendered itself to be a potential a winner, a brand which can be a winner, but not a potential winner. So, those are about A, B and C. Shakeout. Shakeout stage, as I told earlier, is a stage or a time during which every company or competitor who is outside a certain market and it is watching the market from outside, and it sees that okay, this market has great potential, has great promise, it has opportunities, because the players who are inside the market are growing. So, we must rush in. So, new companies or entrants, they start entering the market at this phase, and that is when competition intensifies, or that could be one situation. The other could be the existing players, they have started biting into each other's shares, already a lot of players are there, already a lot of competitors are there, and they have started taking each other's market share. So, that could also be one probability. In either case, shakeout always determines clear winners and clear losers, may not be losers, but laggards who are left behind. So, shakeout basically intensifies the competition and ensures that only the fittest survive in the market. So, the best possible combination of price quality, the best possible combination of promotions, and people who are doing it right in the marketing mix, they will survive the shakeout phase and will proceed further to the other stages. In this shakeout stage, we have taken for our consideration, we have taken in this cell, there is a SBU D or a brand D or a product category D. Your company has this brand which is operating in a market where competition has intensified with respect to the previous stages. Right now, the competition has intensified. In that case, what is the company going to do? The company will try to take advantage of its reputation, because it has already crossed a few phases or stages where awareness has been established. So, it will try to take advantage of that awareness, try to take advantage of that market share which is already there with them, and will try to consolidate upon it, will try to build upon it, will try to increase the customer base, will probably reduce the prices to penetrate further, will launch maybe freebies or buy one get one free offers. So, this brand to survive, for this brand to survive, it must survive the shakeout phase. For all brands basically, if you observe very closely, brands have been which have been around for 50 years or more or 25 years or more, they are yet to reach their maturity, they are yet to reach a market saturation, because they have been able to survive the shakeout phase. They have been able to beat the competition through probably quality price mix, through probably very effective promotional offers, through customer satisfaction and various other measures. So, that is about shakeout. In the next phase, you have a brand SBU or product which has a strong market share or a high market share, a very strong competitive position, and it is operating in a mature market. Mature markets, as I said, have started showing signs of saturation. The rate of growth of demand is not as much as it was in the previous stages. Even in the shakeout stage, if you adopt the right kind of strategy, if you make the right decision at the right time, you might be able to grow at a decent pace. But in the maturity or saturation stage, there is very little scope of further growth. In this stage, normally all players, not just one, but all players, they suffer or begin to see their profits degrowing. That does not necessarily mean losses, but their profits are not growing at the same pace as they used to in the previous levels. So, SBU or brand in the maturity in a mature market, having a strong competitive position, what it is going to how is it going to be treated? It is a cash cow, and how are cash cows treated? Cash cows are brands which have already gained a lot of awareness, they have a decent market share. So, it is wise to earn from this brand without investing a lot. Company will not spend a lot of effort in reviving this product or adding further features or making it more attractive, aggressively pursuing promotional campaigns. None of that sort is going to happen with this product or brand. So, it is probably the best to stay back and earn as much as the company can without investing a lot for a product or a brand which is operating in a mature market, which is operating in a saturated market. After saturation comes decline, and we have taken the case of a brand which has a weak market position, competitive position is not so nice, and it is operating in a already declining market. What is the company going to do with it? Well, very likely that it is going to be divested or liquidated. Well, the company might decide to earn as much as possible or salvage as much as market share or profits from this brand as it can before it ultimately becomes obsolete. Thereafter, it is not going to be revived, not much effort is going to be given to revive this particular brand. Is this like continuous cycle? Is this bound to happen? Not necessarily. There are brands which have entered the development phase and due to negligence have lost market share and directly degraded into a declining position. Sometimes markets have behaved very erratically, they have not shown the usual market evolution phases. A suddenly fast growing market suddenly starts to decline without entering into the shakeout or maturity phases. Only 2-3 companies have existed in this market, suddenly a regulation comes and everything changes overnight and the market begins to show signs of decline very soon. So, in those cases these levels are violated. In those cases we need to conduct proper customized analysis without referring to the Hoffer's matrix. So, that is about the Hoffer's product market evolution matrix. I hope it is clear to you. Remember, Hoffer's product market evolution matrix, BCG matrix and the GE9 cell portfolio analysis matrix are all tools advised to be used for companies with multiple product lines. Single product lines, well, these analysis will be like too much to be used for single product companies. Single product companies have very simple approaches, their strategies are going to be different from multiple product line companies. So, Hoffer's GE9 cell and BCG are for conglomerates, for diversified companies with multiple product lines. I hope you have understood the tool. We will meet in the next video with the next tool of portfolio analysis, and that is McKinsey's 7S framework. Thank you for watching.